good evening, and thank you for taking some time to join us on this wonderful, wonderful Monday evening where you are. It's probably hot. It's probably humid. No?
It
Well,
is.
that's right. Okay, wait a minute. Now, John, Minnesota, hot and humid is like what? 32 degrees? 33?
Exactly. Yeah. If it's if there's precipitation and it's not snow, then it's like middle of summer. No, actually,
I say, did your snow ever actually melt?
It did. It actually did this year. There have been years where we've had snow piles until June, but not this year. We actually were supposed to have 85 degrees today, and the dew point was supposed to be pushing in the mid 70s. So we're talking Orlando type, not quite hot enough for Orlando, but getting to that type of weather. But we have had just this thunderstorm rumble bumble all day. During the last show, we actually lost electricity for a split second, which I found that my mixer was not on battery backup. Everything else in the process is on battery backup except that. So all of a sudden, bloop, there's no audio. So when you guys watch the last show, you'll see there's a few seconds with no audio. Actually, yeah, there was no audio because it just went into my computer. So I fixed that between shows.
Good job.
So yeah, it was supposed to be hot and humid. It didn't get above 74 today, so it was semi-comfortable, just humid. But tomorrow, the rest of this week is supposed to be like we're now going to be in Florida weather for the rest of the week. Hot in the 90s and that dew point in the mid 70s. So yay!
And Robin's watching this and going, "It's
Wimps.
105
like,
and I'm humid."
She's
Don't
like,
tell me
"Here,
it's Florida
you think that's hot? Here, hold my beer," type of thing.
Pretty much. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully things are going well, and you don't sweat too much. It looks like you're wearing long sleeves, so it can't be that bad.
Well,
right now.
I cheat. This building is set to go down, takes it down to 68 degrees at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So it comes down to about 68. Sometimes if it's been a hot day, and where the thermostat is over there, it will actually be about 65 here. So it works well. I'd rather have a little cool because I find if it gets too warm and then there's just no way to. Yeah, you get sweaty and then So that's what we've done.
Yeah.
And it works. So tonight, let's talk about, and this is something, tonight's show we actually want you guys to be participating in. We're going to kind of be making this ongoing digital list of ideas of gifts. Things that we have done in the past, things that maybe we thought about, maybe things we saw other people do. We want to go and, Robin, it feels like 112 here. Yeah, she just had to show us that we were a bunch of wimps. But we're going to make a list of things that, gifts that you could give your clients, like a thank you gift, maybe a thank you for booking gift, or a thank you for hiring us at the end of the event gift, or maybe even if you're doing like a bridal show and you wanted to, hey, thank you for stopping at our booth type gift. A lot of different options. And what I want you guys to do is put those into the chat room. Just share that in the chat and we'll share those. And we've got a few ideas that we're going to be sharing ourselves and just have a little fun making this list tonight of ideas for having gifts for your clients. So the first one I would recommend is the microphone. No.
Everybody gets their own personal one.
Everyone gets their own personal little mic filter to stick on the mic. So one of them that has been making the rounds, and I question of where this is going to be. And I think, Dan, you had a face mask custom made.
I chose not to, but I was planning on it.
You were looking at it. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of prices were involved with that? Because I've heard people talking about doing a custom face mask with the bride and groom's name on it for them, or something to that effect. And I haven't even looked at that to know the costs in that. And then of course there's a question: would anybody wear it besides take that fun picture? But it might be a neat thing. So what did you find out when you were looking into that?
So when I looked into it, I was able to find. The hardest part I had was finding individual masks. So I could find sets of 5 or sets of 6 of them, and it was running me around $60. $50 to $60 is what I was seeing ballpark for that collection. With it, I don't remember if it was embroidered or screen printed, but it was on the mask itself. And so I could have my logo, I could put it on there, and that was that. I did find a couple on Etsy, I want to say, where you could do an individual one, and that was running, I want to say it was 15 to 20, something like that, where you just got a single one, and that was that.
So not a super cheap thing.
No.
But maybe fitting for that moment in time if you wanted to be able to create that picture. My question with that, and the reason it seemed like a really good idea if we'd have talked about this 6 weeks ago, but as we've now seen couples getting into the marriage side of it and seeing weddings going, we're not seeing, I was just talking to someone earlier who did a wedding this past weekend, and they had 250 guests. They had masks. They had planned, I think they had 500 masks there, so that people who didn't have them could bring one. And if they got a mask all sweaty and icky, they could take a new one. They went through 10 masks. So there's 490 masks that are sitting there that no one took. No one in that 200 and some crowd basically wore the masks. There was one person there who was a 80-year-old that had gone through a heart surgery a number of years ago and had some immune issues. She wore her mask, and a couple of people put a mask on to go over and talk to her initially, but as the night went on, they stopped wearing their mask to go talk to her, and then at a point in time, she took her mask off. So, I think to a point it became one of those things that she's like, well, everyone else is. It's like if I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. So I've wondered, of that idea, if the mask was, the custom printed mask, it was a kind of neat idea for a moment, but it seems like the reality of that moment is gone, and it may come back, but it seems that it's kind of gone.
I think if you do it the right way, so if you're a multi-op type of company where you've got a few going out each weekend, I think if you were to buy in bulk a bride and groom ones, and there's some generic ones, where it has that. And keep in mind the ones I was talking about, that was my logo being added to those items. So
Sure.
that's what caused it to go up a little bit. But I would assume, and I could be wrong in this, if you were just doing a straight name, it would probably bring the price down a little bit. And then if you just went for the generic bride and groom, there are ones that I'm sure that are already being made out there that you could get in bulk, send out to just that couple, and have some better luck at a more reasonable price, maybe for a gift.
Well, there's always this magical place to go search for such things. Bride.
I know there are some because I have seen a couple out there, but I didn't price them.
That's just kind of curious if it's going to pop something up here. So, in the chat room, we got a few folks. Yeah, here's a bride. Those are the eye masks ones. But yeah, there's many weddings. Mother of the bride at about $10 a shot. So there's a lot of creepy ones in there too. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm gonna just not look at that anymore. That's pretty creepy. So yeah, there's definitely something. Continuing on in the chat room. We've got Ron mentions here doing a gift card, and this is an area which I have done a version of a gift card a couple of different times. I struggle with this one though, Dan, because I know many a times when I've gotten gift cards from, like when we bought one of our vehicles, they gave us a $50 Visa gift card, and I never used it because I forgot about it. And then when I found it, it's like, oh, that was just stupid. Well, you know what? Let's check and see if it's still active. And it was one of those that at the time where it would go down a couple of cents. And by the time I found it, I checked and the balance was at 4 cents or something. It was just about. So I've knowing that I don't have a great track record with gift cards. I don't do them too much. But Ron was saying that he gives a $50 or $100 gift card. Dan, if you were going to go that route, where would you buy the gift card for? How would you do that? Because that's always my struggle.
So I would go restaurant. I've done this type of thing before. I did it for a very short time period because it just kind of felt weird. I forget where they got the idea, whether it was Mitch Taylor or Ron Ruth or one of the guys that basically they had a premise where if you leave me a review and you do one other thing, so that like a review online and you do a video testimony, and there was a third option in there. As long as you did two of them, you got a gift card for you and your new spouse to go out to dinner. And I did that once, and basically once they did it, I asked them where they wanted it to. They told me the restaurant, and I got the gift card, and I got it sent to them. I did that, I think, twice, because it felt to me kind of weird, because I almost felt like I was buying the review.
Sure.
Even though it wasn't the case, and even though they were completely, free to do whatever they wanted to, I almost had this feeling like it was kind of in that frame. But the nice thing was, I knew where they wanted to get it to. I knew the gift card and where it was coming from, and I knew it was a place that they liked because they picked it. So I knew it was something that they would use.
Sure.
However, I would say if you decide to go that route, whether it's just a normal gift or whether you want to tie it to something like I was saying, I would recommend maybe giving some parameters for them with their gift cards, because I remember the one place I picked, it was a local shop, which was awesome. I was giving them local business, but it wasn't very easy to get a gift card paid for over the phone and sent to them. It was, I had to jump through quite a few hoops because it was a small business. They didn't have the online, and it was like a 45-minute drive for me. So I wasn't really feeling like driving just to get this little card.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that. Some small, especially small mom and pop shops, their gift certificates, instead of having a gift card of some sort, it's a handwritten note. You can get $50 worth. Yeah, we've seen that numerous times. Continuing on, Howie mentions the gift that will keep on giving forever. Howie,
I can't believe Howie would say this, because that's just going to promote somebody to. Actually, no, Howie, it's a good idea. That'll make them never want to be a DJ.
This is probably the greatest suggestion ever for a gift, because it'll be something that they will be able to hold near and dear, because it will work all the time on their Macintosh, and that's buying them a Megaseg subscription. Howie, that was just brilliant. That we should end the show right now, because I don't know if we can top that.
Howie, I used to like you.
Unless we would get them the Huey Lewis Song of the Month catalog. That would be it. Where's the microphone? I need to drop it. I don't have a mic to drop. I'm sorry. Okay.
I don't know which is better.
It's astounding to think. Robin mentions Post-it holders and USB chargers. Post-it, it was actually something that we had looked at getting a bunch of those printed, with your logo in the corner, so you could hand those out at a bridal show. And we had put in an order, because we were going to feature that as our main bridal show giveaway, was these little pack of 50 Post-its that said, wedding entertainer John Young on it, and then had the logo on the corner, so people could have those. We put the order in, and 6-8 weeks ahead of time. It's supposed to take 2-week turnaround, and the company for some reason ran out of that color, and they couldn't get it refilled in time for the bridal show. So there was my one time of trying that that kind of concept. And of course, Robin also mentions with the USB chargers with a Post-it note holder. Those things are desk things. I think Ron's mentioned something like that. Kitchen gadgets. Ron mentions also there on Facebook. So things that you can have your logo on and on their desk that they would actually use. It's just the struggle now to figure out what will they keep. It used to be magnets. People were doing refrigerator magnets, and they thought that was cool. Now it's like, no, people aren't cluttering their refrigerators like that, like it was popular at one time. Any of those types of promotional things, have you ever used any of those, or has there been one that's stuck out that you're like, this is a great idea?
No, I haven't personally used any of the desk type items. It's something I've kind of shied away from, for lack of better terms. I do like Robin's idea, something with the USB charger, because I think that's one thing that a lot of people come back to. Anymore, I have 20,000 devices, and I've got 4 things that I can plug in. Like, I'm limited because of what I have plug wise, but something that always has, if I always have a charger somewhere in a room, in a house, I can always get to that at some point.
Right.
And I would also be led to believe that they'd be more likely to at least keep it for a longer time period than, say, just a Post-it note holder without the charger aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so if you're putting your logo or something on it, or something that would make them think of you, that's a good idea.
So it's the little chargers, USB chargers that are, the portable ones that are a little bit bigger than a little bit bigger than your thumb, what have you. We get those at trade shows. We picked them up. I think you've gotten some from at DJ Expo. Well, in the hardware tool shows, they hand those out. And I've gotten some from a particular company, and I'm not going to mention a company. None of those chargers have lasted more than probably 2 charges. And it becomes a reflection. It's an ongoing joke with us because the company is a battery-based tool company, and their USB chargers die. You can get maybe two or three, and I've given them to the kids, and they're like, "Dad, this is dead already." And it's like, "What?" And then I've actually had, because I think we, over the course of like 2 seasons, we picked up maybe 8 of them. None of them last very, very long at all. So if you're going to buy something electronic-wise, make sure you're at least getting a quality enough one. So they're like going to say, "Oh yeah, that one that I got from John's DJ service, yeah, the thing was junk. He must be junk. Shame
on him."
So continuing on, Ron mentions a 3D figure of the 2 of them that they can have forever, like a cake topper. Now that's a pretty cool idea, which kind of leads me to this. This little piece of 3D printed is actually done. Michael, my son, you guys have met Michael. He was DJ'd with us. This is something he did. And it's just a little 3D piece, nothing fancy with it right here. But this particular is taking a picture. In this case, you'll see in just a second here. He took a picture and he 3D prints it inside or prints it in that. And then let's try it. I'm going to just try to give you guys an idea of if it's going
just want me to share the picture.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't, it needs light behind it. So typically you would put this in a windowsill. Dan's going to show you the picture because I took a picture of it because that's what it looks like. So it becomes this kind of a black and white picture. And what I was, when Michael showed me this, I'm thinking to myself, this is such a cool idea because on the desk, when there's no light behind it, it just looks like a nothing. I mean, just this white thing. But when they can go and get a light behind it, that's what you have. And it's like, that's so cool. You could take a picture of the bride and groom like in their first dance. You could have it 3D printed on something like this. And it would be a unique thing that they probably aren't going to get from anywhere else. Your logo could be whatever. Just a really kind of a neat idea. So thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Dan, because I just couldn't. Obviously, we couldn't get it to show up here decently. So I had asked Michael what something like that would cost and such to do that. Or let me back up. Time-wise, this particular size, he's done multiple sizes. This particular one is about a 24-hour print to do all the little things. He has a second one that he printed that was twice the size, and it was a 2-day print job. And then he's got some smaller, we'll call it wallet sizes that obviously were smaller. So if you guys are interested in that, Michael can talk to you more about it. Just email him at Michael, Michael, Michael Y at discjockeynews.com. Michael Y at discjockeynews.com. He can give you information on that, or if you want to have him do some of those for you. Yeah, so Ron says that they do some of those too. So yeah, it's a really cool thing. When he showed me that for the first, actually I've seen those in his bedroom on the windowsill, but I go in there, after dark or something, so you don't see it. But when the light was behind it for the first time, it's like, what is that? Oh, didn't I show you these? I just thought those were hunks of plastic in your window. I didn't know what it was. So yeah, that was a cool idea that he had. So
yeah, right there. I mean, that to me, I think that's so unique, especially if you were able to get a good shot at the wedding, or you maybe if you go like team up with a photographer type of thing where you go together and you go like, hey, you give me this great picture, I'll give you a couple bucks for the picture, whatever it is, however you want to go about that, and then you take and go over and you run with it, like. That's a sweet gift right there.
Exactly. Something like that is something they're going to definitely keep. If there's a way to do a little branding on it, I'm sure there could be some ways figured out. And even if you're having to hire someone, a third party, to print these things, you're probably looking at $50 max investment. But it's something that they're going to. It'll be, hey, did you see this? This is really cool. I got this from my DJ. Look at this. Doesn't look like much. Well, watch this. In person, mm-hmm. I can show you. I can put this in front of a light in person and it can be seen. You can barely see it. For me, it pops because of how my lighting is in here. So, as far as you can make it, you could see it in person. So Yeah, different and unique. Ron mentions because he has that option with his weddings too. So yeah, I really like that idea. Going back to different gifts that we've done over years at the bridal show, we did have one year where we did for some reason when Dairy Queen was really getting into the Blizzard thing. That one of the years that for some reason Dairy Queen had really pushed hard around bridal show time with Blizzard. So we had picked up little 6-pack of the little thing with you could the punch card to buy 6 Blizzards, and we basically we're giving those things out as a here have 3 date nights on us type of thing for that. And we did that at one of the little bridal shows, and it was just basically when they came up and talked to us, and we handed those things out. And I think at the time they cost me $2 a Blizzard, so it was $12 a piece. And I had gotten, I think, 20 of them. And we were going to, if we had a good conversation, it was like, hey, here, have one. I think I ended up giving almost, I think maybe 1 or 2 didn't go. And the DJ who was with me, they went with him for the show, or he took the rest of them. But it was a neat idea. It was different because no one was really doing anything like that. Just to kind of thank people for coming and having a conversation at the booth. Looking back on it, it probably didn't matter, it didn't help sales, didn't hurt sales. It just cost me some money. So
I think that's the hardest thing to do with a lot of the gifts, especially when it comes to promotional type. To where you're talking about bridal shows. Like, I think the gifts that are going to be they're going to cost more, but they're also going to have the biggest turnaround or the best result for you are going to be those ones that utilize something that happened at the wedding or something from the wedding, and you give it to them afterwards as a thank you. Mm-hmm. One, it's a little bit easier to bite the bullet and say, yes, here's a $40, $50 gift because you just spent, $1,000 with me, or, $2,000. What's $35, $40, but when you're trying to do something promotional at an event, the bridal shows that I'm involved with, everybody's got to come up and talk to you. Mm-hmm. If they want to be in their grand prize drawing, everybody's got to come up to talk to you. So using giveaways in that sense, one of the things I've done is I had my photo booth there for a while, and I used to do free photos, and they'd have their they have their information on there for them, and even those, it was just like, it was weird. They didn't really want the gifts, almost, for lack of better terms. Yep. So it was kind of like pulling teeth, like, hey, it doesn't cost anything. I'm giving it to you. Mm-hmm. It's a picture, just have some fun. And just kind of that attitude of, I came for some free stuff, but I don't know if I want the free stuff.
That's funny. Unfortunately true, but it's funny. Yeah. So speaking of, and as I've been thinking about that, I forgot all about it. We had kitchen gadgets, mentioning that bridal shows. One year we had, if you booked at the show, we had a really nice Chicago cutlery knife set, which I think we picked those up for about $35, $40. They were on sale, and there was an extra discount. So we had, I think, 4, maybe 6 of them in the first 6 couples to book at the show, and then we did cake pans, a cake pan set that had, I think, 2 cake pans and 2 lids or something to that effect. It was a special purchase through one of the local stores. And we went to 2 bridal shows. One weekend we went and we told everybody about it, and then the next weekend is when we gave them away. And it was interesting. The cake pans, that one, we had people lining up for that one. We ran out of, those cake pans were gone immediately. Maybe we had 8, something like that. And those were gone within the first 10, 15 minutes. That people that knew us were like, yeah, we're booking and we want to get the cake pans. Oh, okay. So that's pretty much the extent of my bridal show giveaways over the years.
Speaking of, let's kind of shift gears a little bit. It's talking about wedding ones. One of the things that I heard at, it must have been DJ Expo. One of them I heard was the idea of some different things to do with their songs, mm-hmm. some different things to do with their moments.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas was to find a vinyl of their song.
That would be.
And then having it framed with their information. I want to say it was on the label too. It would be when it was like like in the center label that you have, you'd have the artist and the title, but then you'd also have Bob and Susie, June 27th, 2020. Just so you had that, and that's what was framed and sent to them. And so it's not something they would ever play, but it's a unique, it's out of the blue. It's right. Definitely different type of decor for a house for sure. A little big potentially, but something different and cool.
Yeah, I've heard, people back when CDRs first came on and they could start printing on the CDR, numerous DJs were putting their first song on burning it onto a CDR and then printing a custom label to make it look really pretty. That was a big thing, and some folks really liked that. Talked to one guy, I remember him talking about doing clocks with their first dance record. Some people were doing the 45 or doing the CD of their first dances on the Mariah Carey CD and using that in the clock to signify that. It seemed to me to be a lot of hassle, and I kind of look at things as like, something like this, or even the cake topper. I would probably find a spot on a shelf for that in my house where it can be like, oh yeah, I remember, that's kind of cool. A clock that has our first dance song probably would be put in storage somewhere or whatever. It might be out for a few days and then it's like, oh yeah, no, I've got my clocks I like. That's what, yeah. And you get you get to that with the desk things, unless it's something that has the USB charger. It's like, I don't need another pen. I don't use pens much anymore. I don't need a bottle opener. I don't need I'm trying to think of what else, a ruler, things that have been handed out at the parades and such. So it's like the value of some of that definitely goes down. Hey, Scott, thanks for joining us tonight. Again, if you guys got any ideas here, put those into the chat for gift ideas. Jimmy, I was hoping he was going to join us, and he didn't join us tonight yet so far. But Jimmy was sharing earlier today that one of the things he did as a little thank you gift was putting together a mug that had some different, taking a variety of different hot chocolates and just kind of filling the mug with some different packets of hot chocolate and some little cookies and such to make it a little treat thing. And then to put the ribbon on it, make it a nice little thing that he could actually put on the gift table as a gift for the couple as a thank you that way. And it's like that's a pretty good idea. You don't have a ton of money into it. It's kind of a cute little thing. The mug could be branded, maybe not. It's up to you. But it might be something that they would like. Oh yeah, a big hot chocolate mug could be appealing because getting a 20-ounce hot chocolate or ceramic mug, those aren't that common. So that definitely could be of interest. Scott, you mentioned frames. What do you put in the frame? That's just handing somebody a frame. You must be putting something in the frame, I'm guessing. Go ahead.
Speaking of frames, one of the DJs, I think Mark Brenneisen is where I heard this idea from. He will get together with the photographer because oftentimes the photographer from the wedding is also the photographer who probably did their engagement photos, and he will connect with them and be like, listen, I want to get a picture from the engagement photo, something that ties together with their date, with their proposal, so that maybe signifies that, and then he'll put that and he'll get a big like blow up frame for it. Or not frame for it, but get a big blow up picture for it, and then he'll actually have the guests sign it. Like he has it all decked out. So it's cool. Like something not at all related to it. Actually, I take that back. He has them sign the matting around it. But it's something that he provides for them. It's kind of a surprise when they get there. It's already laid out, ready to go for it.
Yep, I've seen that.
And it catches it. But he kind of does a lot of background work to get it together because he had to reach out so he could even get the engagement photo in the first place.
Yeah. So. Jimmy doesn't. He's out of power. We're in his neck of the woods there. So that would explain.
Scott was saying he takes the bride and groom's photo.
Oh yeah.
That they do in the photo booth, turns it into a 4x6, and then
excellent. Yeah, kind of a fun little thing from the photo booth. that would be kind of a neat thing. A person could put together a little montage, or not a montage, but like a montage of a few pictures from the photo booth. That'd be a great idea.
So this isn't necessarily a gift per se, but while we're talking about photo booths, one of the things that I got into doing for any of my wedding couples is I make sure that I include a wedding album, but not the type you glue in that's like $10 at your local craft store, but rather the ones that you actually slip this strips into.
Okay, sure.
So it makes it a little bit neater, and then there's a place for them to sign around it, but in the front is a spot just for the bride and groom, so it's on the cover of the album. So they get that, and then at the end of the night, so I'm gonna have one sitting here. I give them a flash drive that is branded with mine.
Nice.
It has all their photos on it. So again, not necessarily a gift. This one is actually a surprise to them. They don't know that they're getting a digital copy necessarily of all the photos, unless I need it like kind of as a closing type of thing for them, where they're just kind of hemming and hawing. But
sure,
you still get all the photos too. But I make sure I made sure it was branded, because the easiest thing for them to do is to take any old flash drive and get it confused with the 20 others that they might have.
Yeah, that's very true. They seem to collect now quite well. Kind of like ink.
And it probably ends up in a drawer, and then you get it out like once every 4 years. But yeah,
for sure. Let's see what else. So there was a period of time where some of these businesses were soliciting, giving away vacation vouchers. I don't know if you remember if you ever had gotten involved with that, but probably in the 2004-05 range, some of these companies were going to DJ conventions, and they were offering basically, you sign up with us and we will give you $200,000, $400,000 vacation vouchers to give to your couple. And every once in a while, you'll find a DJ, his website, who still has some of that information. I would recommend not doing that one. You could actually go through and you could buy. There was one company where you could buy the vacation voucher, and it would give them like 4 nights in Las Vegas, as an example, and you were able to buy these 4 nights for like $20 a night at these hotels or casinos. And it was a pretty sounded like a great deal. So DJs jumped on this to buy this, and they were buying 20 of these vacation packages, and of course that was $100 for the 4 nights times 20. So now they've got $2,000 into this thing, and then they would get once they got the things to give to their brides, the brides would get the certificate, which was a valid certificate. They would call in, and then they would have to, okay, so when would you like to travel? Well, I want to travel in May. Well, great. We'll check dates and availability, and we'll get back to you. They would call back, and they would give them, okay, here's these 4 dates, and here's these 4 dates that the certificate will work on. Do any of those work for you? For some couples, it did. For most couples, it's like, no, I can't make those. Can you do it the week after? Sorry, it's not available. So it became a situation that a lot of those vouchers went unused. So that's why they could sell them for $25 a piece or a night. The second interesting thing is that one DJ had purchased these, and he's like, okay, so none of my clients are using these. Can I take my DJ staff? And he had like 10 or 12 DJs. He goes, you pick the weekend, any weekend, we're going to go to Vegas. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. You're not eligible to use those because you're not your customer. So basically, in his words, I think he bought like 40 of them, and he didn't. I don't think any of his 40 were used. So anyway, so when it comes to some of these things, watch out for maybe not complete scams, but pretty close.
Sometimes they sound a little too good to be true. They just might
be. And yeah, and I think you're going to may see some of these things kind of coming out as people are coming out of this and the economy's tight, and because we're seeing in our local newspaper in our area here that the scammers are hitting hard again. It's like there was this like breather where they didn't do anything, and now all of a sudden it's like they're hitting the older folks and are hitting every email and different ads going up and really just targeting. So things to be aware of. So any other ideas for gift things?
You're saying something, and then it just went out.
Sorry. See, I think Jimmy had a couple of them, and I think he was talking, but I think I hit his his big one with the hot cocoa, the hot chocolate one.
I like the idea, especially. I think the wedding gift idea is great. There's twofold sides to it that I think really work well. Jimmy's idea of taking a gift with you to the wedding, especially if you've made that connection with them. I mean, and that's the other thing is, we often talk about getting to know our couples and really sitting down with them and seeing the things that kind of really connect with them. I mean, you're spending time with them in the meetings and emails and phone calls and all those kind of things. The best thing that you can do is regardless of how you decide to go about doing it, a gift that's going to speak to them.
Right.
And something that you could take and leave at the wedding ends up becoming even better, because then it's there.
It's done.
It's done. Well, yeah, that is done, because
We're
we
done.
all know if you wait, you're going to forget.
Yeah.
But being able to take care of it ahead of time. If you are able to get something from the wedding and take it to them, I think is a great option. The photo that or the 3D printing that your son does, it's that right there. I think that's weight in gold. Don't tell him that until after I ordered like 20 of them. But, in the meantime, but no, I think that works well, because again, you want something that they're going to appreciate, something that they're going to use, something that's not going to just get stuck in a drawer for 10 years and then they find it and go, oh, Goodwill, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You want something that's going to be personalized and make that connection. Johnny talks about custom thank you cards. I think that's a great idea, a great way to make that connection. That I think was one idea I heard at a wedding show before too, taking and you get their photo printed on one side, like you take a shot for their first dance.
Yeah, send out cards. That was one of their big pushes for a while there, back when they existed in the industry.
Yeah, just taking something like that and utilizing it. So the key is to make it personalized, to make it individual. It's not always the cheapest, but it's the thing that's going to get you talked about.
Yeah. Let's see. David on Facebook mentioned a Christmas ornament with their wedding date and a photo inside of it. Kind of must be a clear. I've seen variations of that where they've been a 3D. It's looked 3D on the inside. So yeah, Christmas ornament. Getting right back to what Dan just said, personalized, and something like that. A Christmas ornament would be one of those things that it's going to go on a tree every year.
That reminds me. That's what I was thinking about. So back when I did the steel gobos, all right, and so for the monograms, and I was shining the light through it, I would take it afterwards. It was too hot for me to do anything with it right at the moment, so I would hang on to that, and then I would turn it into a very, I thought it was nice Christmas ornament that I would then mail to the couple a couple days later. So it had their monogram in the little steel piece that they got sent to them.
Neat. Yeah, that would be to utilize the little steel gobo. That would be a neat idea. Definitely a neat idea.
Now I do projection, so
yeah. Well, if I ever have a Bob and Susie again, I'll be set. Otherwise, yeah. So yeah, I think that's some great ideas there that you guys have shared. Thank you much for that. Somebody mentioned a thank you card earlier beyond Johnny, but they mentioned the handwritten side of it. I think that's probably in this day and age would be the only thing I would add to the custom the card with their picture is a handwritten note on the inside. I think would probably have more meaning in some ways, unless your handwriting is completely atrocious. But if you could do something to do that, and if you can't write the written word in a way that's legible, just do some math problems. That'd be fine.
Or find somebody that loves you and has good handwriting.
Has better handwriting.
To write it for you.
Yeah, there is that. Sometimes it works. So, well, cool. Let's see. Coming up tomorrow evening. Well, let's see. We've got a Ron Ruth show coming up tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, I think around 10 o'clock. I don't remember exactly what Ron was talking. Oh, Spotify. He had a guest, and I don't remember who the guest was right off the hand, but they're talking about how do you utilize Spotify in your DJ business was their topic for tomorrow. and he has a special guest with that. And then tomorrow night, Ben Stowe and I are going to talk about ways to protect your cords. We're going to go through and kind of list. We've discussed this in parts through many shows, but tomorrow night we're going to talk about ways of protecting cords through traffic areas and looking at the different options for that. And then, if everything, unless the world changes, we're going to do the 10 questions in 40 minutes with Jay and Brian tomorrow night. But hey, if the world changes, we may change that. Might change that show again, because I think this is about the third time I think I've scheduled that or planned for that show, and it has yet to happen. So, and then let's see, Wednesday night, MJ is off this week, so it will be wedding chat. Dave and Jeremy are going to be coming back with Wednesday night wedding chat.
Nice.
And I think that's kind of it, because then we have in the United States 4th of July, time to blow things up. Woo!
Woo woo! Or if you're in my neighborhood, it's every night.
Yeah, it's been that way here. That's for those of you who saw the bear video on my Facebook page. That critter was chased out because they're firing. There's lakes all around us here, and they've been firing off fireworks over the lakes to the south and southwest of us, pushing those critters up, and they were headed north away from the chaos. So, yeah. Yay,
that's a freaky
fireworks.
video too.
Yeah, that's kind of a thing when you think about that. Goes walking through behind our house, and just 50, 75 feet on the other side of the house, the kids are on the swing sets. Even though it's dark, we've got the motion detecting yard lights. The front of the house is lit up like daytime pretty much, and they're out there swinging and playing yet. While this critters are walking through the backyard. It's kind of creepy. The dog did not like it.
I saw it. It didn't look like anybody should like it.
Yeah, no, not so much. Especially after I went out there and did the picture where I'm standing a little ahead of where it went through, and it's like, oh my gosh, it was almost waist high on me. Mm-hmm. It's like that's a big kitty cat or puppy dog or whatever.
Yeah, it had a tail. I don't think it was a bear.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say if it was a tail or if there was a cub or something that was kind of in the shadow or off its. That's the part because somebody just saw a bear about a half mile to the north and west of us yesterday. So could be. We'll see. Yeah, it was a big thing. So, all right, I think that's it, Dan.
All right. So on that note, make sure you are checking out the different shows that John referenced at some point throughout this week. And then, of course, make sure you are enjoying your 4th of July. Be safe. Be careful. Enjoy it. Oh, don't forget, Chill Room. DJNTV.com/chill. So you can go talk with other DJs if you're just like not done yet and want to keep going. It's all good. Enjoy your 4th of July. Thank you very much. See you next Monday.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.